The Caesar had a strange dream. He dreamed of marrying a wonderful fish. So enchanted was he by the idea that he even prepared a ring for the beautiful creature. But soon he learned that the rebellious beauty had escaped from his domain. Enraged, he ordered a search for her across all the bodies of water on earth. Meanwhile, on a quiet riverbank lived a boy named Emelya. His father, a blind blacksmith, worked from early morning. While the man was busy at the forge, Emelya would often sneak out of the house to go sledding. One morning, the father heard his footsteps and came to check whether the boy had grown enough to become a helper. Emelya pretended to still be small, and the old man was saddened, though he held hope that his son would grow up someday. Emelya headed down to the river and cast his fishing rod, but no fish were biting. The boy voiced his frustration, and just then, the water began to churn. An icy pillar burst out of the hole in the ice, splashing him. A large pike appeared in his bucket, as if by magic. Rushing home, he lit a fire in the stove and prepared to cook the fish. Suddenly, the pike spoke. She told him that if he released her back into the river, she would grant him 3 wishes. Startled, Emelya accidentally used his first wish, saying that he wanted to see the city, but didn't want to get off the stove. The pike made the stove move on its own, carrying the boy out of the hut and down the road. As the stove raced past animals and frightened townspeople, Emelya clung to it, freezing. Unable to bear the cold, he used his second wish. He wished for summer in the middle of winter. Instantly, the snow vanished, replaced by green grass. But the road turned into a river, and Emelya fell into it. Crawling to the shore, he was dismayed to realize that he had used 2 wishes and received nothing good in return. While pondering his final wish, Emelya encountered a group of bandits. Finding nothing valuable on him, they took his bucket containing the pike, but Emelya wasn't ready to give her up. Grabbing the bucket, he fled, with the bandits chasing after him. In desperation, he threw the pike back into the river, but was himself caught and hung upside down on a tree. Soon, a girl approached from the river and freed him. Emelya rushed to the water, hoping to find his fish, but she was gone. The girl introduced herself as Vasilisa, and Emelya recognized the voice of the pike. She handed him her scarf, which was in fact a scale. Emelya then made his third wish, to marry Princess Anfisa, the daughter of Zarfan. At that very moment in the palace, Princess Anfisa was entertaining the English ambassador, Lord Rothman, who presented her with exotic gifts. The lord was demonstrating a mechanical organ operated by a hidden dwarf. As Zarfan admired the contraption, Emelya and Vasilisa reached the court, climbed over the fence, and began watching the proceedings. Not wanting to be outdone, the Tsar claimed they had something even more marvelous, a self-playing bayan accordion that could make anyone dance. The lord expressed interest, and the Tsar, though knowing he had no such instrument, ordered it to be brought. Emelya leaped down from the fence and offered to fetch this miracle bayan, asking in return for Princess Anisa's hand in marriage. Shocked by the boldness of a commoner, the princess objected, but the Tsar, impressed by Emelya's bravery and agility, agreed. Vasilisa warned Emelya that the bayan was guarded by a very cunning and dangerous cat. She explained that when the cat met someone, it asked them to choose a song. If they chose a sad one, the cat sang it, and the person fell asleep, only to die in the cat's jaws. If a cheerful song was chosen, the person would dance uncontrollably until death. Despite the danger, Emelya insisted on going, and Vasilisa accompanied him. They soon reached the dark forest, where Vasilisa parted ways with him. Emelya pressed on alone, and eventually encountered the cat, Bayan. When asked to choose a song, Emelya picked a sad one. As the cat sang, Emelya joined in, because it was a song his mother had sung to him as a child. The song lost its deadly power. Moved, the cat cried. Emelya petted him and offered some milk. Grateful, the cat agreed to come to the palace, bringing his bayan along. Meanwhile, Vasilisa was approached by a frog, a messenger of the Caesar, who reminded her that preparations for her wedding were complete and offered her a choice of dress. Emelya overheard their conversation. Vasilisa explained that she was indebted to the Caesar, who had saved her from a net, and she had lost a chess match to him. Emelya, though unfamiliar with chess, boasted that he could beat anyone. Back at the palace, Lord Rothman proposed to Princess Anfisa, but was interrupted by the arrival of Emelya and the magical cat. The cat played his bayan, and everyone began dancing uncontrollably. The Tsar, overjoyed, ordered the instrument to be guarded and appointed the cat as court musician. Not wanting to marry a peasant, Anfisa devised a plan. She reminded everyone that one wish wasn't enough to earn her hand, and asked for time to think of a second requirement. That night, she consulted the ghost of her mother, Serena Agrippina, who devised an impossible task. The next morning, Lord Rothman tried to impress the Tsar with an English juicer powered by steam and operated by the same dwarf. The Tsar admitted its brilliance. Then, Anfisa requested a legendary magic tablecloth that could produce any food when spread. The Tsar summoned Emelya and tasked him with retrieving it. Emelya and Vasilisa set off. On the way, she told him the tablecloth belonged to two brothers, Drinking Man and Eating Man, who lived in the Stone City, beyond the kingdom's borders. They came across a humble house and asked for food. An old man shared a meager meal, explaining that the year had been harsh, with no spring and unsown fields. Emelya felt guilty. Vasilisa praised the couple's devotion, calling them needle and thread. But Emelya claimed that he and Anfisa would be better. He would work at the forge and she would manage the household. Vasilisa only laughed. Soon they approached a small bridge with a sign indicating the end of Russian lands. Vasilisa warned that anyone crossing it would forget Russian and speak only foreign tongues. Emelya didn't believe her, but after she crossed and spoke to him in gibberish, he panicked. Until she laughed and he realized it was a trick. In the Stone City, they found two fat men constantly eating. Tired of their indulgent life, the men were glad to be rid of the tablecloth. Emelya tried to seize it, but they knocked him unconscious with a coconut. Vasilisa offered them spring water. Seeing their reflections, the men were ashamed. They remembered they had once been brave Cossacks who fought the Turkish Sultan. Now ashamed of their gluttony, they let her take the tablecloth. Back at the palace, Lord Rothman wooed Anfisa with stories of London. She dreamt of traveling abroad. Emelya picked flowers for his bride, which Vasilisa disapproved of. She tried to open his eyes, warning that the princess wished him harm. Emelya dismissed her concerns and recited the speech he planned to give. Vasilisa agreed, then corrected herself, reminding him that he was marrying someone else. For the first time, Emelya began to doubt. When the princess learned of Emelia's return, she and the Tsar rushed to the square. There they found him distributing food using the tablecloth. The Tsar urged his daughter to reconsider. She didn't understand his admiration for a commoner and again sought her mother's ghost. Later, Anfisa announced she would marry Emelya, but only if he returned with her mother's blessing from the afterlife. Disappointed, the Tsar could not change her mind. Emelya promised to fulfill the condition. That night, Vasilisa explained how to reach the kingdom of the dead, warning that no one ever returned. Emelya considered using his last wish but chose to save it. On the way, he visited his father but stayed silent, hoping the old man wouldn't sense him. The blind man welcomed Vasilisa and spoke fondly of Emelya. Then he called out to his son, not with his eyes, but with his heart. Emelya asked forgiveness and used his last wish to restore his father's sight. Vasilisa made it so. At the river, Emelya thanked her and returned the scale, but she continued with him. They reached the realm of Kosai, ruler of the dead, who turned out to be Vasilisa's father. He had turned her into a pike for disobedience. Vasilisa asked him to summon Tsarina Agrippina. He consulted her file and saw she had once been a commoner who had cruelly oppressed her people as queen, punished now with eternal hunger. When summoned, she refused to bless the marriage. But Kosai, moved by his daughter's plea, tempted Agrippina with food and offered to lift her curse. She relented and granted the blessing. Her spirit appeared before the Tsar, Anfisa, and Lord Rothman to confirm it. The Tsar rejoiced. Before parting, Kosai warned Vasilisa that Emelya would forget everything, including her. On the return journey, Vasilisa told him, and Emelya was horrified. He confessed he didn't want to forget her. Vasilisa only smiled sadly. Meanwhile, furious over the blessing, Anfisa summoned her mother's ghost again. Agrippina revealed Emelya had magical help, which could justify a death sentence. But Anfisa was more intrigued by the sorceress herself. The next morning, Emelya awoke in a boat and didn't recognize Vasilisa. She turned back into a pike and dove into the water. The Tsar rejoiced. The bride had disappeared again. Emelya went to Anfisa and admitted he might be in love with someone else, though he couldn't remember who. Taking offense, the princess ordered his arrest. Emelya was dragged to the square and sentenced to execution. The Tsar, heartbroken, withdrew. As Emelya tried to grasp the fading memories of something precious, Vasilisa appeared once more in human form. She had escaped Caesar again. Offering her service to Anfisa in exchange for Emelya's life, the princess accepted. Emelya was cast out of the palace. Anfisa's first wish was to become a Tsarina. The Tsar's crown was stripped, and he was locked in a tower. Her second wish was to marry the King of England. Bagpipers arrived with a letter of proposal, and Lord Rothman was demoted to dishwasher. Meanwhile, Emelya returned to his father, desperate to remember someone. When the slimmed-down brothers from the wedding spoke to him, it didn't help. But when his father repeated Vasilisa's favorite saying about the needle and thread, he suddenly remembered. He rushed to the city, His father, now riding the stove pushed by the giants, caught up. Together they broke through the palace gates. Emelya called for Vasilisa. She was stunned, he remembered, but Anfisa blocked her, demanding her last wish. Unfazed, Emelya told her she could destroy him but not his friends. Anfisa wished to be a sorceress like Vasilisa and immediately turned into a pike. But her powers were useless, she could only grant others' wishes. When she asked a servant to repeat her wish, he instead wished for kvass and a husband for her. Caesar emerged from a well, seized Anfisa, and took her to his kingdom. She resisted but, realizing he was a king, agreed to marry him, breaking Vasilisa's curse. Emelya repeated his love speech. Vasilisa accepted and kissed him. The Tsar regained his throne. Lord Rothman returned to England. Emelya and Vasilisa departed on their honeymoon, riding the stove. This is where the movie ends. What did you think? Did the ending surprise you, or were you expecting it all along? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our next movie breakdown. Want more? Check out our recap of similar movie right here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.